All right, welcome. I am going to be talking about Kyrie Irving. I know you guys have probably been keeping up with what's going on in the sports world, and it's just been this big avalanche of news talking about how he's had this major turnaround and how him leaving Brooklyn and coming to Dallas has done him some good. And I wanted to give my perspective on it. I don't think that the narrative that's being painted by sports media is truly accurate about Kyrie Irving. I'm always going to give my take on what I think it is. And I'm not saying that I'm 100% accurate, but I just want you guys to have a different perspective on what's been going on with Kyrie. All right, remember, let's insert a little bit of context here, okay? We know that when it first started in Brooklyn, actually it goes even before Brooklyn, but let's start with Brooklyn because I think that's, our memory can serve as well because that's the most recent event prior to him leaving and coming to Dallas. The Brooklyn ordeal, he was deemed to be an anti-Semitic because he promoted some kind of documentary on his social media account. It went viral. People try to paint him as a person, as an individual that hates the Jews. Um, Kyrie Irving had his own perspective about what he believes, and I think everyone is entitled to their own personal beliefs. Um, he did it respectfully. He was forced to apologize. He was fined. He was maligned by the media. The same media now that are propping him up as some kind of major turnaround. These are the same people, ESPN, that were putting him to the ground. You had people like Stephen A. Smith calling him stupid, calling him all sorts of names. You had Shannon Sharp. I mean, the majority of the media were against him. It was almost like if you did not speak out against Kyrie, then there was something wrong with you. You had a few people who tried to remain objective. I think the guy, I forgot his name. Maybe you guys could remind me in the chat. He used to play for Duke. He used to be a point guard. He didn't play long in the NBA. He had a crazy motorcycle accident. I can't remember his name, but I remember he spoke out objectively, and he had to. I think he had to. He was suspended. So we understood the powers that be who they are. You guys know who they are. It rhymes with the letter spews, and I'm not going to mention it that way because even mentioning that can get you canceled and get you censored on YouTube. If you want to know who controls you, then you are wise to actually put yourself in a position to understand that the person who controls you is the person who has the power to censor you. And the things that you can't critique, if you can't critique a particular group in society, then that society is who has the control. You can critique African Americans, you can critique lesbians, you can critique gay people, you can critique transgender people. To a certain degree, you can, but there's a special group of people that you cannot critique, and if you do, the hammer comes down on you. And I think that's what happened to Kyrie. He wasn't being critical; he just promoted a documentary that expressed his belief. So you had people like Shaquille O'Neal. Everybody was just hard on this guy, Kyrie. Now all of a sudden, ESPN, convenient amnesia, the same pundits that were speaking out negatively against Kyrie are now out saying things like, "Oh, he's turned around, major this." So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share my screen, and this video that I'm showing is from ESPN. This is for fair use only. I'm not using this for monetary gain. I'm just doing this to analyze or critique the critique about Kyrie Irving and his alleged turnaround. Okay. And I'm not going to talk while I'm showing the video because I don't want me to glitch. I don't want my voice or my audio to glitch. Once I'm through with the video, once I'm through with a particular portion, I'm going to stop the sharing and I'm going to come back to my screen. So I'm just like this with you guys. 'Cause I think when I'm talking directly without sharing screens, there's no glitch. And I'm tired of the glitching thing going on. All right, so bear with me here.
And Kyrie Irving has won finals since going to 3 in a row from 2015 to 2017. Kyrie's 14-0 record in closeout games is the best in NBA history, and his Mavs will look to complete the sweep of the Wolves tonight. All right. Perk, tell me this. Has this season transformed your career?
Okay. Okay. I stopped sharing because I wanted to address that. I wanted to address the question because these questions are not coming directly from Molly. Molly is not that bright to invent the questions. She's given these questions by her producer. So has this season reinvented Kyrie or whatever she said? It's not a reinvention of Kyrie. All right. It's not a reinvention of Kyrie. Kyrie never needed reinvention. I'm gonna play that again so you guys can make sure that I'm saying her words correctly, that I'm not putting words in her mouth. Okay, she used the word transformed. His career never needed to be transformed. His game is always the same. His numbers are relatively the same. He's he's always been impactful, whatever team he's went to. So number one, the only transformation that she's talking about or must be the perception that people had about him outside of the context of actually playing basketball, right? We're not talking about his handles. We're not talking about his ability to shoot. We're not talking about his shooter percentage plummeting and that he needed to resurrect himself from poor play. No. So the transformation that they're talking about has nothing to do with basketball. The transformation that they're talking about has something to do with the narrative that media painted about him that was false to begin with. So they're already trying to do another campaign here by implying, I want you to listen to this, by implying that he's made the change. He never made the change. Kyrie's still the same person. He's still the same player. It's just that the narrative around him is changing. So this is how media, mainstream media, controls the minds of the people, and people remove their brain. They take media's brain and they plug it up into their brain and say, and they end up thinking the way the media wants you to think. It's called a hive mind. Like the it's like a corporate engine of thoughts that generates the thoughts for the masses, and it has its tentacles injected inside the brains of people, and the people end up thinking the way media wants them to think. I don't know Kyrie personally, none of us know him personally, but the way sports media talks and speaks of athletes, they speak as if they have a personal relationship with them. The only relationship we have with these athletes is seeing them on the basketball court or seeing them play whatever respective sports that they play. Kyrie's been the same guy. He's the same guy. The only thing he's probably changed is his words with media. He's very careful. He's grown up. He's gotten more mature. But the things that he did before, there was nothing wrong with the things that he did before. The anti-Semitic stuff because he promoted a documentary on his social media account, really? That's what makes him a bad guy? Now, all of a sudden, how has he transformed his career? His career did not need transforming. The narrative needed to be transformed. But now ESPN is taking this opportunity because it's convenient now, because he's playing well. He's on the verge of going to the NBA Finals. So now we have to hop on this train and not admit our flaws. And we're not going to admit our inconsistencies at all. We're not going to do that. Never that. No, 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 no. We're just going to ride the wave. The next thing that comes in, we just ride the wave. And then we paint narratives to have people thinking that somehow, some way, Kyrie needed to transform himself. No, Kyrie is still the same guy. Kyrie still has the same beliefs. Better believe that. He's just more wiser in how he approaches media. Yeah, he was caught up in his emotions on certain interviews where certain reporters were asking him questions in a heat of the moment, trying to elicit some type of emotional response from him. And sometimes he answered with calculation, and he did well with the answers that he gave to me. But media found a way to dissect everything that he said, from Stephen A. Smith, Shaquille O'Neal, Shannon Sharp, Perkins. 90% of the media were on this guy in a negative way. And if anybody possessed a bit of objectivity towards Kyrie, oh my goodness, the media was after you because they saw you as siding with him. That means that you are also an anti-Semite. There goes that divide that I always talk about: divide and conquer, divide and conquer. People want to get paid on television. They're not going to speak the truth. They're going to say, they're going to go along with what's popular because it gets them paid. people who go against what's popular, they get fined, they get suspended, or you're forced to come back on network to make a public apology. They embarrass you when you go against those letter boys, if you know what I'm talking about. The boys that you can't talk about, the group that you can't critique in America. You can't say anything about that. So there's no transforming needed on behalf of Kyrie. He didn't transform anything. He did not. So that question, the first question, believe it or not, is already a question that's already slanted in a mire of being biased. There's no objectivity in that question. It's assuming that he needed transforming. He didn't. There's nothing that he transformed. There goes media again, planting the seeds of deception in the minds of the people to make you think one way, and this is not necessarily true. All right, I'm going to share again so we can watch the rest. So I'm going to be quiet when I share, because if I talk, I'm going to glitch as I'm sharing this video.
Here.
Oh, absolutely. And Molly, before we start, hold on, let me say this. Before we start pulling and applauding for Kyrie Irving, we need to start getting these apologies out there, okay? They need to be as loud as everybody were when they were criticizing Kyrie, and I'm one of them. Let me start off by apologizing, because I had a lot of disrespectful things to say about Kyrie. I thought Kyrie didn't give a damn about the game of basketball, but a different situation, a different coach, a team that's going to embrace him, a team that's going to actually be on his side, we're seeing the best version of Kyrie Irving right now. And what he has done from a leadership aspect for us leading this Dallas Mavericks team, being the voice in that locker room, being a mentor to Luka, and performing at a high level, he has definitely proved a lot of people wrong.
Okay. All right. This is my method. What I'm doing, I'm not going to talk while sharing. So if I want to talk, I have to stop sharing to talk, so there's no glitching. I want you guys to recall what Perk just said about Kyrie. He said, number one, he made an apology, so I commend him for that. It takes a degree of integrity, and it takes a degree of sincerity to come out and make an apology on public television after you were the one that ridiculed the guy unjustly. But the premise of his apology is predicated on saying that Kyrie was in the wrong place. Now he went to a team that's going to embrace him. So that's why the changes come. None of these guys know what they're talking about. I can speak from personal experience and the growth that I've had as a young man, as a young adult, to an older adult. You go through certain things in life, and they're called learning lessons. You learn through your experience. You see, Kyrie understands that he alone cannot go against the mainstream media machine. He's only one man. Number one, he's a family man. He has a child. He has a wife. All right, he's a family man. He's not out there whoring in the streets. Number two, he has a lot to lose and not that much to gain to stand on his soapbox and talk about the things that he believes in terms of his spirituality, his religion, and who he thinks the real JEWS are. That documentary that came out was talking about that concept from a different lens, not the popular lens. Because if you take a different lens that's in contrast to the most popular lens, you're deemed an anti-Semite. As a matter of fact, you can't speak about a certain group, or they'll cast you into a corner, and that everybody else, being afraid of that one group, will group with the majority and go against you. So Kyrie had to learn a hard lesson. He's very articulate. He's very smart. He's very calculated, and he's what people consider woke. He's not woke. He was never asleep. None of us are ever really asleep. I just think everyone comes into their age of enlightenment. Okay, and even when sometimes you think you're woke, you're still wallowing in a degree of ignorance, because no one gets to a point where they know it all. You just have to get on a path where you are on a trajectory of continuous learning and the continuum of gaining information and the continuum of gaining knowledge, that upward trajectory of continuing to gain. Never get to a point where you think I'm woke, I know it all. No, you can't do that. That's ignorant. That's a J concept. What Kyrie went through, he had to go through. He had certain beliefs. He stood on it. He paid the penalty. He paid the price. not just financial price, not just him losing games. I mean, not him being suspended from the team and not playing games and losing money. That we understand that, but his reputation took a big hit. You had people saying that he shouldn't be in the NBA. You had people like Charles Barkley, the most ignorant man on television, just who can't even talk. He can't even speak correctly, and he has the audacity to speak about Kyrie. So this idea that Kyrie went to a team that embraced him, that's what changed him. No, that's not what changed him. What changed him, the transformation, is not in who he is or his game. The transformation is him being more subtle with his beliefs and his approach, because right now he has too much to lose and not that much to gain. Believe you me, when he retires, you're going to see more of the person who Kyrie is. He's going to be more outspoken. He's going to be more of an activist. He just can't do that right now because the numbers are not on his side. He still plays for a system that's dominated by those people, the letter boys. I'm not going to say their name. You know who they are. The people who control media. You can't say anything about them or you're going to be called anti-Semite. You can't do that. He understands his position now. He knows it's a losing battle. It's a lose-lose proposition for him to sit up there and still dig his foot in the ground to say, this is me. I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't care what you got. He can't do that. It's not worth it. So the only thing that changed about Kyrie was him being wiser. In terms of his beliefs, the same. As a matter of fact, he probably believes what he believes even more after seeing the reaction of the people. Did his game change? No. Is this his first time getting to a finals? No. You saw in the beginning, he's been there, done that. He's been a champion. He's hit big shots. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. All right, let me continue. So when I share, I'm going to shut up, because if I talk while I'm sharing, I'm going to glitch.
I don't know exactly what all went on down there with, when he was with the Brooklyn Nets, but to come from being part of one of the biggest failures.
Sorry, I had to say something. The fact that Perkins, listen to me, Perkins. Oh my God. Okay. You did not know. He just said it. I did not know all that went on in Brooklyn. So if you don't have all the information, be very reluctant in being very judgmental upon something or upon an event or upon incidents that you don't have full context or the full information about. You came out, you blasted the guy. You said horrible things about it, which is why you're making an apology. So you made comments being ill-informed. So that means that a lot of the people who come on ESPN who talk, they talk from a platform of being ill-informed. They're ignorant. They just go on. It's a term that Kwame Brown likes to use. Go on with the get-along gang, or what I think something to that effect. Is that whatever is popular, you say that because you're safe by saying the things that most people are saying. The 1 minute you go against the grain, and all of a sudden all eyes turn to you, and you become the adversary of the status quo. He just said it. I didn't know what was going on. I don't know all that was going on. And if you didn't know all that was going on, why would you commit to making assertions about a player that you don't fully know the ins and outs or the details of what was going on in Brooklyn? I would rather him back then come out and say, look, I don't know all what's going on, but I hope that the team plays better. I'm not going to speak on Kyrie Irving's beliefs right now because I don't know the full details. It's okay to say that. But in this culture, we're forced to choose sides because we understand that if we side with those who have the numbers, we get more people on our side. It's like the bully in school who has all the people on his side. People are afraid of the bully, so they're friends with the bully as a means of protection. People are afraid to speak out against a certain group of people who control the media. And if you speak out against them, you're called an anti-Semite. And plus, they own majority of mainstream media. So when you're working for these companies, ESPN being under Disney, yo, you better believe, you better say the thing that's right. Because if you say anything that's contrary to what they think you should be saying, especially if they perceive you saying something that's against their people, oh no, you're going to be alone. You're going to be on an island, sir. So what these people are, they're cowards on TV. I'd rather you just stay neutral. Don't pick a side out of fear. You just said it right now, Perk. You said, hey, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know everything. But yet, you felt the need to speak on something that you didn't know about. Amazing. Okay, I'll come put you. When I'm done, I'll give you a Band-Aid, okay? You got to wait for me to be done. I'm doing a video right now. All right? So I'm about to share again. And I'm going to be quiet because if I talk while sharing, it's going to glitch.
In NBA history, to changing it over and coming down here with Dallas and on the verge of taking this team and helping a young and upcoming superstar Luka Doncic go to the NBA Finals, I must say, I need to see those apology letters out right now, and they need to be signed.
Guys,
I mean,
Go ahead, UD. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna say this. It reminds me of when we got Jimmy Butler. When Jimmy came from Minnesota and everybody understood the issues that he had in Minnesota, and when he was going at people in practice telling them, I go at you and you can't stop me and you can't stop me, and he didn't fit in there. You put a guy, and I said this when in Jimmy, you take a dog out the kennel.
Hold on real quick. Let me go see what my son wants. Hold on, give me a second. Oh, all right. Sorry about that. Let me share again.
And you put him in, you take a dog away from playing with other guys and you put him in a kennel with other dogs and he fits right in perfectly. You put Kyrie in a situation where he fits in perfectly, where he's accepted, where he's wanted, where he's appreciated, and then you see the
No. He's wrong. It's not. I want you guys to listen to this. It's not that he's always been appreciated everywhere he's been. The talent alone makes you appreciate him. If you're a coach, there's a lot of coaches in the NBA right now that will appreciate the talents of Kyrie Irving. He's literally unstoppable one-on-one. He could go get a bucket when he wants. He could get a shot when he wants. The only way you can dream of stopping him if he stops himself, if he misses the shot. He's going to get the shot that he wants. His handles are that great. So this idea that he went to Dallas where he's embraced and look, you don't think Brooklyn wanted him? Brooklyn wanted him. Everything that happened in Brooklyn was political. The comments about him being anti-Semitic, the owner being one of the groups of those people that I'm not going to mention here because I could get censored, but you know who I'm talking about. It was all about that. In terms of the players on the team, the coaches, they loved him. He was loved in Cleveland. He was also loved in Boston. The narrative there that, he ruffled feathers, he didn't get along with people. None of those narratives were true. He's always been embraced everywhere he's gone. So this idea, see, this is lies. This is a way that ESPN, the analysts are trying to save face without just publicly saying, you know what, we were dumb. We were ignorant in the things we said about Kyrie. Most of the things we said about him had nothing to do with basketball. We assassinated his character. We weren't fully informed because Perk just affirmed that. Perk just said, I didn't know fully everything that was going on. None of you guys did. I didn't even know. Me, LP, talking to you guys, that I didn't know. But I know that everyone is entitled to their own beliefs. But when those things were happening with Kyrie, I was like, man, this is going to be a learning lesson for him. He's going to realize that no matter how much backing he has, it's never going to be as much as the mainstream, because too many people are brainwashed and afraid of speaking their truth. See, there's always powers in numbers. Imagine if Shaq got on television and said, yeah, I side with you, Kyrie. I believe you. I'm siding with your freedom of speech. If Barkley, if all the melanated brothers and sisters who have platforms were actually aligning themselves with Kyrie, not necessarily agreeing with everything, but at least being on the side of where, you know what, he has the freedom to express himself. This is a documentary that was sold on Amazon. They weren't attacking Amazon for selling the documentary or making it available to people. It was available to anybody to watch. Freedom of speech. So you can't watch certain things. You can't post certain things. It wasn't pornographic. It wasn't violent in nature. Imagine that. But he didn't have that. So Kyrie is starting to understand that it doesn't matter how much backing I have from certain communities that are considered to be fringe communities, communities that are kind of beneath the radar, sub-communities, I should say. They're not in the mainstream. Even though I have the backing of all those people, media controls the minds of the people. As long as media is controlling my narrative, I don't have a way to win this. And this is a lose-lose battle for me. The only thing Kyrie did, again, I reiterate, is change his approach. That was it. He just changed his approach. All right? All right, let me continue this. All right, give me a second. Give me a second. All right, here we go.
I'm not saying that the situations he was in are the reason why he acted the way he acted, because every grown man is responsible for their own actions. But I will say that the situation he is in now, he is embraced. He is with Jason Kidd, who's a Hall of Famer, who's an Olympian, who's possibly going to be a championship coach. We'll see. But he won championships. So now you're in a situation with somebody who's relatable to you, somebody who you respect, and somebody whose word holds weight with you. You know what I'm saying? We all know that's a little bit different when we're talking to somebody who maybe is an analytical coach or a guy that ain't never played the game. When it's coming from a guy that's been there and he know where you're trying to get to, those words and those messages translate different.
This has nothing to do with Coach Kidd. That's the narrative that's being painted. I've read several articles about how him coming to play, his connection, Kyrie's connection with Jason Kidd and Nico Harris or something like that, has nothing to do with that. It's 90% Kyrie, 10% everything else. I'm not saying that him playing with Coach Kidd, playing for Coach Kidd doesn't impact him. It does. It does. But the change had to come from within. You guys just said it. You guys are contradicting yourself. That's what I want you guys. I'm trying to help you guys understand how to be better critical thinkers. They say one thing and they say something else that contradicts their premise. The premise is that, remember, he said this. He said, Kyrie Irving is a grown man, so he has to take responsibility for his actions. I don't know why it didn't work there, the situation there, but he's a grown man. So if he's a grown man, let's not start to give credit to the team embracing him and the coach, him playing for a coach that's played the game, that's a coach that's not analytical. No. Let's not give credit to that. Keep the same foundational premise that you started off with about him being a grown man, being responsible for his actions. Then also, when there's a transformation, like you guys are implying that he's had, or that he's having, because he's in the process, it's not complete. We're all transforming. Transformation is never complete. Then you still have to give him the full credit for being a responsible adult for making that change. You can't say it's because of the environment. You can't say because it's because of Coach Kidd. You can't say it's because the team embraced him. As I said before, everywhere he's gone, he's been embraced since high school. Have you seen the guy dribble a ball? Who wouldn't embrace that? Please. These people don't know what they're talking about. But they get paid to give you guys the news, and you guys go along with it and think that these people are speaking the gospel. It's far from it.
I agree with you guys, but I think there has to be a level of growth and maturity on Kyrie's part. Let's not forget, he wanted out of Cleveland after they won the championship, went back to the finals, and lost in 5 games. He wanted out. He was on this talented team. Remember now, when he went to Boston, they had JT and they had JB Perk. They were there. They were young. So imagine Kyrie this mature, this level of Kyrie with that team. They should have probably had 2 or 3 championships by now anyway. He goes to Brooklyn. Whatever happened to Brooklyn, we know about the vaccine. We know about the tweet, the book, and whatever case may be. But I think what Kyrie is doing in Dallas.
But okay, we know about the tweet. We know about the V word. Okay, we know about all that stuff, the inoculation. Yeah, we know about it. How come you don't want to speak more about that? Because right now, what Kyrie was saying about those things is aging well for him. It looks good on Kyrie's part. Okay, the things that he stood on, the things that people were against, because a lot of the vitriol came because of those his unwillingness to take the jab. He didn't want to take it. He didn't believe in it. And he was being condemned because of that, because he's putting his teammates at risk. He's being selfish because he doesn't want to get something inside of his body. Again, free will. They want you to go along with the get along. Say what everybody else is saying. Do what everybody else is doing. Don't have a mind of your own. Kyrie has a mind of his own. There's one other player that I forgot. I think he plays for Orlando Magic. I forgot his name. A very, very introspective guy. I really like him. He speaks his mind as well. And he gets a lot of heat too. But the difference between him and Kyrie, he's just not as good as Kyrie. But if his game was, if he was considered a superstar on an all-star level, or he would be getting all the press too. But he's just really on a little bit of above average player. I forgot his name. Maybe if you guys can leave a comment and let me know his name. This place for Orlando Magic is a real skinny. Most NBA players are skinny, but he has like a lot of hair. Real dark skinned guy. But I forgot his name. Yeah, so he talks about this because remember, Shannon Sharp was one of the ones that was like, oh, you know, the doctors are saying this, you should do this, you should do this. Most of the animus against Kyrie Irving was based upon his stance about certain political issues. But now Shannon Sharp finds it convenient to kind of gloss over that part. Oh, yeah, whatever. But now let's go back to him maturing. The only part that Shannon Sharp says that I agree with is the maturation part. There's a degree of maturation that comes with everybody. Michael Jordan had to go through a maturation process. Kyrie Irving, Jason Kidd, every player goes through. Even Shannon Sharp himself, when he was an athlete, everyone goes through a maturation process. But during that maturation process, we should allow the player the grace to grow and not condemn them and start to slander them because of their own personal beliefs or personal stance, because they're not going along with what everybody else is going along with. So now all of a sudden, these analysts on television, all of a sudden they want to put on the analytical hat and think analytically. But initially they were all emotional because they were all like, oh, he's not getting the jab. Oh, he's this, he's quitting on his team. He's selfish. Kyrie's not really about basketball. Do we know if he was going through anything personal of why he was missing certain games? We don't know that. We don't know that. All right, hold on real quick. Let me get my kids settled. Hold on. Yeah, so Shannon Sharp, all of a sudden now they're putting on this critical thinking hat. Now they want to start talking about, oh, he had to go through a stage of maturity. When he was going through the things that he was going through, Shannon Sharp, how come you didn't have this same energy right now about him maturing? What this would have been the right thing to say back then. Revisionist history. We all do it. So I'm going to have revisionist history right now. I'm going to go backwards. At the time when Shannon Sharp was yapping about Kyrie, this is what he should have said. Kyrie's still a young player. He's been through a lot. He's gone through Boston. Like the same things he said about him going through Boston, wanting to get out of Cleveland after winning the championship, getting swept. He could mention all that. Those are facts. That's not being biased. That's just stating the facts. And just say, hey, we just have to be patient with him. He's going to have to mature. He may have to understand that there's certain things that he can't say. But I'm not going to fault a guy for having his own personal beliefs about a certain medical procedure. Personally, me, I believe in the vaccine. If he doesn't, that's his opinion. That's the way you remain objective as an analyst. Not condemning a person because they choose not to do something that they don't feel comfortable with. That's just what I think. And I think that's the right stance to take. You can't go wrong when you stand like that. You can't go wrong because when things progress and they move to a different stage and a different dynamic comes to play, which is what we're seeing now with Kyrie, because he no longer has that title tagged with him, because now he understands how to move a little bit much judiciously, and he understands there's certain things that I can and cannot say because I'm a family man. I have a wife, I have a small child. I cannot go against the system by myself. But you better believe me, when he's done playing, you're going to see the true activist of who Kyrie truly is. Right now, he's just being quiet. He's just playing. He's smiling in front of the media. He remembers all the people that talked about him. Oh, he's very calculated. He's very calculated. I've listened to a lot of interviews with Kyrie. Very calculated. He reminds me of me in terms of how I reason. You'll never know my emotions. I'll smile, say the right things. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're playing well. He remembers everything. He remembers everything. He remembers everything. All right, let me continue. I'm going to shut up now because if I talk while I'm sharing the video, it's going to glitch.
Is what LeBron tried to do for him. And sometimes when you're young and your mom and dad trying to tell you something, you don't want to hear it. It takes somebody else. You know this firsthand. You coach your son. Your son listen to other coaches more than he listen to you. And you right there in his house and you trying to tell him you played in the NBA. And those guys probably didn't go past YMCA. But it's different coming from someone else. Kyrie had to mature. Kyrie had to grow up. And I think everything you said, guys, are absolutely correct. He's somewhere where he's embraced. He feels he's being respected because for whatever reason, he didn't want to play alongside LeBron James any longer. For whatever reason, he didn't want to be in Boston any longer. For whatever reason, he didn't want to be in Brooklyn. If you watch Kyrie, there's something said about finding a wife, having kids that mature some men.
Shannon Sharp just hit the nail on the head. I just said that. I haven't listened to this video. When I do most of these live videos, it's really live. You see my kids making noise after I actually leave and get them straight. Wife talking to me in the middle of a video. I don't have time to watch a whole video and then rewatch it again and do the live. I'm watching it live with you. When I mentioned him having a wife and child, he has too much to lose. That's the change. That's the change. Two become one. That's the change. That's the beauty of a relationship. That's the beauty of marriage. I know we're not going to give credit to his wife or whoever he's with, his significant other, because we don't know who she is. She's not dribbling a basketball and making shots, but she's just as integral. She's just as important, and she's just as significant in this maturation process for Kyrie Irving. It takes a woman who loves you unconditionally. You produce a child with that woman through a union. You guys are coming together to be one. Kyrie remembers the things that the father imparted into him. So as a father now himself, he wants to impart great things into his child. He doesn't want to do anything that's going to pull him away from his child. So as a married man with a child, with a family, it changes you. That's the one thing that has been said in my 5 minutes and 5 seconds of this video on YouTube. That's the one thing that's been said. That's the most accurate and the most correct thing. See, people like to say, oh, the change is all Kyrie. Yeah, it's Kyrie, because Kyrie is the physical embodiment of the change. You see the change, but we don't know the things that happened to cause the change for us to see the change. That woman that he's with is the change. That child is the change. He has too much to lose. This is all about being mature. I tell my wife all the time, I said, I'm radical. I said, if I didn't have kids, if we didn't have children and I wasn't married to you, I'll be off somewhere doing some crazy stuff. Not bad things, but I'll be more outspoken. I'll be one of those people that's like out there. But I can't do that. I have a certain job, so I have to keep my political, beliefs, my religious beliefs under wraps. There's certain things that I can and cannot say. I have to be politically correct. I have bills to pay. If I was by myself, I don't care about myself. But because I have children that are dependent upon me, I have to make sure I make wise decisions out there. The same way I talk here is not the same way I talk at work. I have to be judicious. That's what I said about Kyrie. He has to have discernment. That comes with having a family. Pick your battles. I'm not going to try to battle the mainstream media about my beliefs about this documentary that I watched, and I believe that we're the true JEWS. Am I going to keep beating that drum, or am I going to just shut my mouth and take the high road? Because I have something that's more important. My seed, my progeny, my wife. I don't want to lose that. But believe you me, when he's done playing, you're gonna see the real Kyrie. Right now, he's just playing the role. He hasn't transformed. He's just a wiser person. If you guys thought he was a devil before, he's now a much wiser devil. It's the ones that are quiet that you have to be very mindful of. The ones that you think transform never really transform. They still have the same form. They're just being very judicious in how they go about implementing their words or uttering whatever they believe in, because they understand that if I say something that's too catastrophic or that's too, controversial, they're going to come after my money. They're going to come after my image. I have a wife and kids to take care of. I have to feed them. I'm going to be quiet. So that's the one thing that's been said so far that makes the most sense. Perk apologizing about what he said to Kyrie, and Shannon Sharp saying that the marriage and having children is what helped mature Kyrie. But believe you me, it had nothing to do with Dallas Mavericks. It had nothing to do with Coach Kidd. This is a family man, Kyrie Irving. He's saying, I'm going to stop this. Wife and kid, I'm good. That's my prized possession. Not me going out to fight some social justice war about what I believe in. I'm going to keep quiet for now. You can't keep a man too silent that has a lot here. You'll implode. If you know things and you keep it in, it's not healthy. You need to let it out. Eventually he will. All right, let me continue. And when I share, I'm going to shut my mouth, because if I share and talk, it's going to be and the video is glitching too. I don't even know if you guys are actually hearing the video like clearly. But if you're not, I'm still breaking it down. But I'm sorry it's doing that. My Wi-Fi connection is horrible here, so just bear with me. Sorry, guys.
And I believe that's where Kyrie is in his life now. He didn't have those. There's something said about finding a wife, having kids that mature some men. And I believe that's where Kyrie is in his life now. He didn't have those things in Cleveland. He didn't have those things in Boston. He was getting those things, I believe, at the end in Brooklyn. But whatever happened, Kyrie, he has changed the narrative, because people were saying, how could you break up LeBron James, this young team with LeBron James? You're going to go back to the finals. Whatever happened? What happened? How could you not stay with JT and JB? If I'm not mistaken, I think Al Horford was on that team also. So it was a situation where Kyrie has changed the narrative through his behavior, through his play, through his maturation process. And it's something to be commended.
But so we got to give a lot of credit to the Dallas Mavericks, because the thing that they did do was treat Kyrie like he's supposed to be treated. Now, here's the thing. When you talk about franchise guys, Shannon, y'all know this, they supposed to get special privilege.
Get perk.
Every
They do.
every franchise guy I played with, they got special privileges. It's part of it. That's why they get paid the big bucks. Long as you go out there and produce, I can give a damn if you late to the play. Damn if you're holding up the bus. Damn it, long as you coming out there giving us that 20, 10, and 5. KG used to be 45 minutes to an hour late to every plane ride because he had to get a massage. But we know one thing, he was going to go out there and give us that 20, 10, and 5 every single night. At the end of the day, the Dallas Mavericks did a hell of a job of making sure Kyrie Irving was treated accordingly. And with that being said, they're getting the best out of him.
And I got to say one.
Okay, so Perk, are you implying that the other places that he went, that he wasn't getting treated accordingly? He's always been treated accordingly. He's always been a great player. So that was a moot point. I don't get why he said that, because he's saying that as if Dallas is the only team that's treated him special. Everywhere that Kyrie's gone, he's always gotten special treatment because he's great. Even when he was with Cleveland before LeBron decided to come back, it was his team before LeBron came back. And even when LeBron came back, he still got special treatment. So I don't get why he said that. I think he just still wants to make people believe that Dallas Mavericks had something to do with the change of Kyrie Irving. He hasn't changed. He's still the same guy. Let's just stop saying change. He's just, you see, we think that the cameras and we think that the things that we see through our optics is truth. No, people can submerge. People can hide and conceal who they really are for the sake of something that's more grand. All right. So if I have a grander scheme at play, I'm not going to reveal my hands to you, because why would I do that? He made the mistake of doing that before, and that's part of his growth, part of the growth of Kyrie Irving and part of his maturity, right? So it's not the team that changed him. It's his family. It's his decision to make the change. It's his family dynamic, and it's just him maturing. He's getting older. He's getting older. But it's not nothing to do with the basketball team. He's always been treated special everywhere he went. You don't think Boston was treating him special? You don't think Cleveland treated him special? Come on, man. He's always been treated special, Perk. You know that. It didn't just start happening because he went to
one thing. This is Kyrie with a chip on his shoulder too, because as well, a lot of people turn their back on Kyrie in that situation. Mm-hmm. It's not just the media need to be apologizing. A lot of NBA teams probably should apologize, because y'all had a chance, and a lot of people turn their back on Kyrie.
Right. Yep. And you know what? I think the thing is, guys, is that you look at a situation like, well, damn, he couldn't play with LeBron. He couldn't play with a young JT and JB. He didn't want to be there with KD and so forth and so on. They were like, well, damn, what's the perfect situation?
No, it's not that he couldn't play with LeBron. The situations are more nuanced than that, guys. It's not, I don't want to play with you. I don't want to play with you. No, we don't know the full story. None of you guys know the full story. Even Perkins earlier said, I didn't know the full story. There are many parts at play there. It's not, oh, I didn't want to play with KD. It's not that he didn't want to play with KD. He was suspended, so he couldn't play. And then I guess the players on the team were frustrated, and of course Harden wanted to do his own thing. The team was fragmented. So this idea that I don't want to play with Kevin Durant, I don't want to play with LeBron, that's not it. Because if he did not want to play with LeBron, he would have left when LeBron came. He won a championship with LeBron James. Okay, so I think some of the things that these guys are saying, they're trying to save face by still making Kyrie seem like the selfish young player before, that he couldn't play with anybody, but all of a sudden now he can play with somebody. That's never been the case. He can play with anybody. He's a very sensitive person. Kyrie's very sensitive. He's not going to want to be in a place or in a town that he doesn't feel like he's wanted. And sometimes he knows that his talent is good enough where he can go elsewhere and still thrive. And as we see happen, he's gone to Dallas. He's thriving. Everywhere he's gone to, he's thrived. Individuals, when I talk about thriving, I'm talking about his individual accolades in terms of his individual statistics. Now, championships, he didn't win with Boston, of course. He mentioned how they got, bounced out of I think I forgot what round he got bounced out in the when he played for Boston. But needless to say, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. He could play with anybody. He's playing with Luka. So these guys are still trying to save face. This is what mainstream media does. It implants certain seeds in the minds of people, and people go along with what they hear without thinking for themselves.
Situation for Kyrie. Well, he's found it in Dallas. He's
Mhm.
found someone that he can play alongside, and that he's willing. He's like, this is Luka's team, and I'm okay with that. Hey, Luka, and you'll see Luka. Hey, Kai, you take it, man. I'm exhausted. Hey, Kai, do what you do, and Kyrie like, okay. But he's for the first time, I think Kyrie, because he realizes that he's the veteran presence in that locker room. He's the voice of reason now. I don't think he ever felt like that because he had LeBron in that locker room, and we know what comes along with LeBron James. Now, he should have been the voice of reason in Boston, and for whatever reason, that situation didn't work out. Now, he goes to
Okay, Shannon Sharp, listen to what you just said. Initially, you said he couldn't play with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. He didn't want to play with them. Then now you're saying that for whatever reason. So which one is it? You see can't you guys see the duplicitous terminology being used by these men when they talk? They contradict themselves every time. They say one thing and they come back and say something else that contradicts what they initially said. If you know for a fact, and you're on television, if you know for a fact that he did not want to play with certain said players, you said that. You said that as if that was factual. He didn't want to play with JT. He didn't want to play with Jaylen Brown in Boston. He didn't want to play with LeBron James. He didn't want to play with Kevin Durant. He didn't want to play with James Harden. You know this for a fact, but all of a sudden now you're saying, well, I don't know whatever happened in Boston. Guys, come on. Come on. You got to do better. And we as people, we as viewers have to start holding people more accountable to the things that they say. Watch what they say. Listen to what they say carefully. They're contradicting themselves every time. Every time.
Brooklyn. And that was a situation that he wanted. He and KD put that together, guys. He wanted. They could have gone to the Knicks. They could have gone anywhere as a package deal. And nobody's turning those two guys down. I don't know why. And I don't really care why it didn't work. It didn't work. Now all I care about is this man seems to be extremely happy. And I think it has more to do with what he has going on off the court with a wife and his kids. He's found his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes, what gets you out of bed? What makes you spring out of bed? You don't need an alarm clock. That is your purpose. And once you find your purpose, you can find peace. Kyrie is at peace. He's found his purpose. He's found his peace. And it's you see what's happening on the court. And he's playing at an extremely high level. He's always been talented. What is Kyrie doing now that we haven't seen him do since he's been in the league, Perk?
Yeah.
We've seen him dance on people, hit big shot after big shot, finish at the rim with either hand. Kyrie Irving he hit one of the biggest shots in NBA Finals history. So him taking over the fourth quarter, I'm not surprised because I saw LeBron James a lot of times would give Kyrie the ball and go stand in the corner. In Game 7, he said, hey, Ty Lue, Kyrie can go get the best shot. Give him the ball. So Kyrie is not doing anything that I have not seen him do before in his entire NBA career. Mm-hmm. He's just at peace now, and he's flourishing.
Yep, happy to see it and witness it.
Yeah, I agree. That's the end of the video. It has like a couple of more seconds left, so that's it for that video. But yeah, that's what happened. He's found purpose. He's found purpose. Now he's gonna just find a different way to still channel his purpose in a much more diplomatic way. Okay, there's stages. There's also maturity in the purpose. Yeah, your purpose right now is your kids or your family, but I'm telling you guys, he still hasn't lost his drive and passion for those social beliefs that he believes in. Believe me, I know people make fun of him for believing that the earth is flat. People talk about him for not believing in the inoculations, the little jabs that were going inside the people's arms. He didn't believe in that. He has his own mind. God forbid you have your own mind nowadays. Don't do that. You got to think like everybody else, because if you don't, you're a problem. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for listening. I went longer than I wanted to because I had a lot of distractions. Sorry for the background noises that you guys are hearing in my home. I have a family, so you know how that goes for you guys who have kids. But just leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. That I don't really think, my title says, is Kyrie still the same person? He's still the same person. He's never changed. Transformation, he hasn't transformed. Nothing. He's just going through the same process that everybody else goes through when they mature. And given the fact that he has a wife and kid, he has to actually temper his expectations of what he thinks will happen when he speaks his mind, or when he feels strongly or passionate about a particular subject. He needs to kind of like mince his words and just strictly smile for the cameras and talk basketball for now. But there's going to be a stage. There's going to be an evolution when his kid gets older and when he gets closer to retirement and when he's done playing the game. Mark my words. You guys are going to look back at this video years from now and say, I remember this guy, Literary Pharaoh, said that when Kyrie was done playing, he was going to become more of an activist. That's in his heart. That's in his soul. Look at the shoes he wears. He's a very spiritual guy, very introspective. He talks about vibrations. He talks about frequencies. People would deem him a conspiracy theorist if he actually spoke his mind, but he's very, very calculated now with his words, because he knows that if he says certain things, he has much to lose because he has a family and a kid. All right. Thank you guys for indulging me. Leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye.